Hey guys, it's almost our graduation soon. Let's compose some music together. Let's go!
Very good afternoon, parents. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all Chinese families a happy Lunar New Year. I want to welcome you to our Parents Connections seminar. Okay, I am so happy that you found the time to join us. There are more parents who are coming on board. If you have friends that you know who are parents of this school, perhaps you could remind them that it's time to come on board for our Parents Connection session 2021. So there are two main segments for today's session. The first segment, I'll be addressing you, followed by two very important briefings that's done by my VPs, one on subject-based spending and the other on the new 2021 PSLE. The second segment would be the Q&A session live. Do continue to stay on and ask us the questions that you have after you have listened in to the briefing. So there will be a QR code that you will see on the bottom right-hand corner, and do send in your questions as you listen in to the briefings and the address. Okay, for now, we will move on and transit to the first segment of my briefing, of my address and the briefing by the VPs. We will see you back here for the Q&A session. See you real soon.
A very good afternoon to parents. Welcome to our Parents Connection session. We're glad to have you join us this afternoon. I'd like to begin by thanking you because without you, without your partnership in 2020, we wouldn't have been able to support your children as well as we did. We hope for continued partnership in this year and the years to come. We begin with our vision, mission, and values because this is the backdrop from which we plan our programs and all the activities for your children. Our vision, lifelong learner, virtuous leader. And our mission is to provide quality education in order to nurture wholesome individuals. And these are undergirded by our school values that are evergreen to develop children who have these values of love, perseverance, responsibility, integrity, diligence, and respect. And this is the center of the values, the programs that we nurture in our children. And we do all that so that we can grow and nurture children with these learning dispositions: critical thinker, creative problem solver, active contributor, responsible leader, and confident communicator. We hope to develop in our children these positive learning dispositions that will actually follow them through their life and will benefit them as they use these skills in their life. And you can find these learning dispositions outlined in the Student's Handbook as well on pages 12 and 13. And if you have the time to engage your children in conversations about these learning dispositions and how they can demonstrate these dispositions. The programs for the year, we have various programs and enrichment and activities planned for your children. Let me begin with the theme for 2021. In the last 2 years, we have the themes of Rise Up to the Challenge and Shine as Leaders. And this year, our theme is Riding on Waves of Opportunity. Let me just share with you the meaning and the intent of this theme. Riding. You see that the word riding is a continuous form, and we're hoping to emphasize that continuous movement, continuous improvement, where we do not remain static. And that would require us to have that balance, our students to have that balance and agility in order to ride on the waves. The second part of the theme, waves of opportunity. When we talk about waves, we think of waves swelling and ebbing. And it's the same for opportunities. Opportunities come and go, like the waves. And we would like our children to catch and ride the waves. When they encounter a challenge, a difficulty, they will see it as an opportunity and ride on it and think about the learning that they can get from it. Unique Laker Total School Experience. That's what we want for our children, every individual who comes through the gates of Lakeside. We've shared this quadrant with you before. In order to develop and to give your child that total school experience, we look into 4 areas: the environment, to establish a caring and enabling environment, and to nurture positive and supportive relationships, and also to develop a holistic curriculum and to strengthen quality teaching and learning. And that's how we want to provide for your child that positive learning experience. And in the center of it, in the blue ring, we have designed our very own Falcon Positive Education. What does Falcon stand for? The acronym of Falcon stands for F, fostering positive relationship, A, accomplishing goals, L, leveraging strengths, C, counting your blessings, O, optimizing opportunities to contribute, and N, nurturing wholesome individuals. In order to bring that about, our student development team has also customized and designed this special SOAR curriculum. Let me take you through the SOAR curriculum. S stands for strengths-based development. O for optimistic dispositions. A for helping our children achieve their personal best. And R is for teaching them how to relate well to one another. So we have the SOAR curriculum, which we will implement through the form teacher guidance period this year. So for the top half of the Laker Total School Experience, we look at the environment and the relationships. And when we talk about the environment, we're talking about the physical environment where it's safe and where our learning spaces are developed and designed to encourage learning, even as the children explore the spaces around them. We're also talking about the psychosocial environment where it's safe, inviting, and inclusive. And that includes the class environment as well, where teachers would have established certain routines to ensure that the tone in the classroom is trusting, caring, and respectful. Let me take you through some of the enhancements in the school environment so that you know what is it that your children are enjoying and benefiting from. We propagate the idea, the concept of the environment as the third teacher, and some of the enhancements, one of which is our musical garden. Our amphitheater is being transformed. You can see what it was before, where the children perform on the stage, where the amphitheater is. We have transformed it and included some special instruments in there. Can you spot the life-size instruments, the bigger-than-life chimes, the cymbals, the xylophones, the manta-ray, the drums? We want to ensure that in the environment, we make these instruments accessible to the children so that they can enjoy playing with these instruments as well as explore and experiment. A second enhancement we'd like to share with you would be 2 pilot classrooms. We call them classrooms of the future. And we have included flexible furniture where the classes are able to be transformed for the various purposes, and the children are able to move into various formation in order to learn better. We also have various spaces, learning spaces at the back of the classrooms, at the side of the classrooms, where the children can learn, can explore, and interact with one another through interacting with the activities that's been placed at the back of the classrooms as well. So these are the classroom of the future. It's a pilot that we are trying out, and we may scale up to the other classrooms as well. The third enhancement, our Bright Room. Our Bright Room has different areas dedicated to games, to reading, to doing homework, and playing board games. And this is a room that we actually have our children that have been identified who will require after-school supervision. So these are for identified and targeted students. So that's for our environment. Let's look at relationships. While relationship with teachers, between teachers and students, is important, relationship between students, among peers is just as important. So this year, we have the Peer Support and Relationship Program, where we believe that every student is able to be a peer supporter and to look out for one another and to support one another. And there are also selected students who will be trained as peer support leaders. We do all that so that every child can feel safe, accepted, and empowered in the school. The second bottom half of the Laker Total School experience, we are looking at the holistic curriculum as well as the quality of teaching and learning. We continue to emphasize responsive teaching in the curriculum and co-curriculum, ensuring that there is a balance in the 5 different domains, emphasizing 21st CC skills and social emotional competencies development. So looking at 21st CC development as well as social emotional competencies development, we endeavor to nurture Lakers to be future ready. And one of our goals is to have every Laker to grow into a critical thinker who is prepared for the future. And how do we do that? We have our Learn to Think to Learn movement in Lakeside at the various departments, and it's pervasive throughout our programs. So there is MTV, our Making Thinking Visible routines, which our teachers use in the classrooms, the elements of thinking, which our teachers also engage our children in discussion, the various subject-specific pedagogy where they use thinking. For example, in math, they use the RACE acronym. And then we have our Thinkers with Heart applied learning program where we use the design thinking approach, and it's integrated with ICT use and values in action, where our children use these skills to contribute back to the school and to the community. And of course, harnessing ICT, where we want to equip our children with computational thinking skills as well. Our second goal is to develop every Laker into an active contributor who is a creative problem solver and who is strong in digital capabilities. So we do that through Immersive Tech, where we introduce Google VR mobile phones, 3D viewing glasses in exploring lessons. So for example, we have science lessons on the respiratory system at the P5 level, where the children actually look at the respiratory system at close-up view. These are the other areas where we have introduced computational thinking skills to our children. We have the P5 Code for Fun, our P4 Applied Learning Program. We have our P3 coding lessons and our P1 and 2 Psle lessons, which is our program for active learning. Our third goal is to develop our Lakers into responsible leaders who are anchored in values and who communicate confidently. So we have a comprehensive student leadership development where there are 3 tiers. The first tier is for all Lakers, all students. We believe every Laker can be a leader. And of course, we have development programs for our student leaders. And the third tier is for our EXCO leaders. 3 C's of student development. The first C, character development. The second C, competency building. And the third C is helping our children commit themselves as leaders and to grow. Homeschool Partnership. It's not the same without your partnership. In fact, your partnership is critical in the growth of your child. So what's your role in helping your child in this educational journey? I can think of 4 areas. 1 is to help your child to reflect on their experiences in school. So conversations with them when they return home from school about what they've learned in school, what they encountered and experienced in school, get them to share with you. Secondly, help them to achieve their goals. Help, not achieve it for them. So don't do everything for them, but give them little stepping stones towards their goal. It could be a clue, it could be a question that you want to pose to them to help them move forward to the next step. Also, help your child to relate to others. Friends are important to your child in the development and in their school experience. If your child is able to relate to their peers and to their friends, they'll be able to have a positive learning experience, a positive school experience. So talk to them about what it takes to be a good friend, what it means to be a good friend, and what would they have to do to demonstrate those qualities. Building resilience. This is really important to teach our children to be able to bounce back when they face obstacles or challenges, and not to expect others to help them all the time. So do talk to your child about some of the challenges that they face and encourage them to overcome them bit by bit. Support them as they do that. So with that, I want to thank you, and thank you for being on this journey with us as we together grow your child, and always quoting this quote that it takes a village to raise a child, and how every stakeholder, especially you parents, play an important role in developing our children. With that, I thank you.
Good afternoon, parents. Thank you for taking time to join us this afternoon. For a few years now, we have been hearing about the new PSLE scoring and the Set 1 posting. 2021 is finally here. Let me go through together with you and let's try and recall what are some of these changes that have been made. Over the years, the Singapore system has been very good at producing students who are very exam smart. They can study hard and they score well for their exams. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but as you can see for yourself, with the changing landscape, where a lot more problem solving, where there's a lot more complex and uncertainty, it is therefore timely and important for us to move away from an overemphasis on academic results and for schools and parents to focus a lot more on helping the children to discover their strengths and their interests so that they can navigate more successfully in the new landscape. The PSLE scoring changes have two main aims. Number one, to reduce a fine differentiation at a young age, and number two, to recognize students' level of achievement regardless of how their peers have done. If you take a picture or scan the PSLE microsite QR code, it will be a place where you can get a lot of information as well as updated information about PSLE. The PSLE remains something very important as it is a useful checkpoint for us to understand where our children are in their learning after 6 years of primary school, and it's also important to gauge their learning needs so that they can progress to the secondary school and take the subjects at a suitable level. This table shows the achievement levels, also known as AL. There are 8 achievement levels from 1 to 8, as you can see in the table. The corresponding exam marks are also shown for each of the levels. Your AL achievement that a child receives will be based on how he has done for his exams. It is not in comparison with the peers, therefore he just has to put in effort and do his best and get the corresponding achievement level. It is not dependent on how well or how poorly his peers performed. This table shows the PSLE score, which is a total of all the individual AL levels in the 4 subjects. So if you look at the example on the left, with an AL 3, 2, 1 and 2 for the various subjects, 3, 2, 1 and 2 will add up to a PSLE score of 8. The table next to the PSLE score shows you the bands that will allow the child to go into each of the different streams when they're in secondary school. The PSLE score ranges from 4 to 20, also reflects the readiness of the child to take that particular course in the next lap of his education journey. This remains the same. The curriculum is continually updated. This is not related to PSLE scoring and the Sec 1 posting changes. Well, now, what has changed? The T-score is no longer in use, so it's now replaced by the PSLE score. The main purpose is to reduce the fine differentiation between the students and their peers. Therefore, the children just have to work hard to make sure they do their best, and that's the achievement level that they will get. It is not, there's no need to compete with their peers to be better than them so that they can get a higher aggregate. Students will be assessed based on their own achievement instead of comparing them to their peers. Now let's take a look at how Sec 1 posting works. One change from the old system is that the choice order of schools will matter more now. In the past, whether a child gets into a school or not over his peer is purely based on the aggregate score because the differentiation of the aggregate scores are finer. Now with students being in bands, there may be a clustering of students within the same PSLE score band, and therefore the choice order schools will matter more. Okay, students will continue to be posted to secondary school based on academic merit. If 2 or more students with the same PSLE score vie for the last remaining place in the school, the tiebreakers will be used in the following order. So the first tiebreaker that will be used will be the citizenship. The second will be the choice order of schools. The third, and finally, if all the tiebreakers do not work, there will be computerized balloting. Let me go through a simple example with you. Okay, let's say there are 4 students, Jane, Brian, Mary, and John. They all selected school A as part of their choice. So looking at the aggregate score, Jane has the best PSLE score, which is 16. So in the new system, the smaller the score, the better. So Jane will be posted to school A, which is her choice, since she did better than her peers. Okay, the story becomes more exciting now if you look at Brian, Mary, and John, because they have the same PSLE score. So what happens? Okay, look at the blue column. Since they have the same PSLE score, we'll go into a tiebreaker. Okay, the first tiebreaker is citizenship. So Brian and Mary are Singapore citizens, so therefore they will have priority over John. Okay, if there was a last place left, John will definitely be out of consideration. So now it's between Mary and Jane. Since they are both citizens, Mary and Brian, sorry. Since they are both citizens, we will look at the second tiebreaker, which is choice order of school. So choice number 1 for Brian is school B, whereas choice number 2 for Mary is school B. Because Brian has put school B as a higher choice, his first choice, and Mary has put it as second, Brian will get posted to school B over Mary. So if Mary has no competition in the third school, then Mary will go to school C. As for John, if there's no similar tiebreakers in school D, which is his third choice, then John will end up in school D. Okay, so the tiebreakers, that's how it works. Here now, let me share with you what are some of the implications should a child be offering a combination of standard and foundation subjects. Okay, we will look at the scoring of the PSLE for foundation level subjects. Okay, this slide shows the current PSLE grading system. The students are put into 5 scoring bands, 1, 2, 3, 4, and U grade, okay, depending on how they score for the exam. Okay, under the new AL system, foundation subjects grades will be graded in 3 scoring bands from ALA to ALC. Okay, the table shows the 3 ABC AL bands as well as the corresponding raw mark. Okay, like standard subjects, the foundation subjects AL will reflect a children's level of achievement rather than how they have performed vis-a-vis their peers. For the purpose of Set 1 posting, the foundation level ALA to C will be mapped to AL6 to AL8 of the standard level subjects respectively, as you can see in the table. Getting a 75 to 100, a child will be AL6. 30 to 74, AL7, less than 30 will be AL8. And these ALs that's been converted to 6, 7, 8 will be added up to get the PSLE score, just like any other student. This is an example of a student's PSLE score. The child offers standard English and standard science, foundation mother tongue, and foundation maths. So if you look at the AL scores, he has a 3 for English, a B for mother tongue, which translates to a 7, foundation mathematics a B, which translates to a 7, and the science is an AL5. So the total of 3775 will give the child a PSLE score of 22. So if you look at the placement outcome again, the table that I shared with you earlier, with a score of 22, the child is actually able to choose whether you want to take an express stream in secondary school or normal academic stream. Now I'll just show you some of the indicative achievement levels, cutoff point ranges for different school types. In the first quarter, but maybe about April, May, we will be releasing the indicative achievement level cutoff point for each of the schools. Just like previous years when you receive the secondary posting book, where they give information as well as their aggregate scores to get into the school, they will be doing the same but with the indicative achievement ALs this year. To further familiarize, this is being the first batch 2021. There is really no historical data to fall back on. To familiarize the first batch of students and parents with the new PSLE 2021 scoring system, MOE is providing more information on indicative AL cutoff point ranges for different school types. These is generated based on the 2019 Set 1 posting exercise. So similar to the T-score system, the achievement level cutoff point for a school may vary from year to year, depending on the students' PSLE results as well as their school choices for that year's Set 1 posting. Okay, the information on individual secondary schools will be released to you very soon. Okay, this table shows the indicative achievement level cutoff point. So that's another acronym you need to know, AL achievement level, COP cutoff point, for 3 school types I'm sharing with you. So the first one is for government and government-aided schools. So these schools are the mainstay of our education system and offer higher quality education at standardized fees. So these schools offer a range of electives, applied subjects, and student development programs. Okay, more can be found when we release the booklet to you on the AL cutoff point for individual schools. So you are looking at indicative AL range. Okay, so students who more or less score within this range PSLE scores will make it to the various courses in the government and government-aided schools. Okay, this one shows the ALCOP for autonomous schools. So these schools are government or government-aided schools that provide a wider range of programs that seek to enhance students' learning experiences and develop their talents. And finally, independent schools. So these schools have the autonomy to develop their curriculum and programs to cater to their students' diverse learning needs. So these are just indicative, they are not the actual scores. We will only know at the end of the year, depending on how our students perform in this year's PSLE, as well as what kind of school choices are made for the Set 1 posting. More on each school, what type the school belongs to. This information will be made available to you by April or May. Okay, one thing that doesn't change, whether it's a new system or old system, I have conversations with parents who are usually a bit stressed when it comes to choosing a suitable secondary school. So now let us give you a little bit of advice on how you can go about this, making a true choice together with your child. I think it's very important that you make the choice together with your child, as that is where your child will be going for the next 4 years of his life. There are many schools, and there are many good schools in Singapore, many good secondary schools. Of course, the stress level for yourself and for the child a little bit higher if you are really aiming for some of the more elite schools in Singapore. However, do cast your net a little bit wider, because there are many different schools that are good, just as good, that can better cater to your child. So consider your child's learning style, the strengths and the interests when it comes to making school choices, so that you can find a school that's suitable for your child and where they can thrive. I mean, we do hear also of students who have gone to a less famous school, and because they are given more opportunities, they actually have a much better experience in secondary school as compared to someone who may have made it to a top school, but the competition is of course in the top school there will be a lot more competition, and the stress level will be higher. And they therefore may not thrive as well in a top school. So it really depends on your child. So do discuss these options with your children. Number one, the values. Find out a little bit more about what the school is about, what the school stands for. Do their values also resonate with yours and your child's? Take a look at the learning environment. Is the learning environment right for the child? The distinctive programs. I think if you go to a school website nowadays, you will find out all the very interesting things that different schools are doing that can support and develop your child's interests. And finally, something that's very basic that sometimes we overlook. Location actually is very important. Having to travel 1.5 hours to and fro from school every day can take its toll on the children, because traveling such long distances can be quite tiring and therefore could affect their learning. So these are some things we feel that you should think about before deciding on what school would be suitable for your kid. MOE has produced a lot of resources as well to support you. So number one, go to the websites of the various schools. Schools nowadays do put up a lot of information about what the school offers on their websites. Number two, there will be a lot of virtual open houses. Because of COVID, we may or may not have face-to-face open house. That's a bit unfortunate. However, schools have been very creative and very innovative in coming up with virtual open houses. So do explore them. They will be posted whenever the school know of any of such open houses. We will also inform your children. For parents who are in P5, if you are interested, you can also go explore some of these open houses with your kids. I don't think it's too late or too early rather to look at what are some of the options. I do have cases where the students and the parents go take a look at some of the schools, and because the child is motivated by some of these wonderful things that are happening in the secondary schools, the child actually studied a little bit harder to try and get into the secondary school. So it's never too early to start preparing for a PSLE. We don't have to stress ourselves too much, but it's good to have a target, isn't it? Okay, so there's the MOE School Finder tool. You can scan the QR code that will allow you to find, there's filters that can help you to find a school that you feel is more suited for your child. As mentioned earlier, the indicative cut-off point ranges for the different schools will also be given to you very soon. The last 4 slides from me regarding subject-based spending at secondary level that could affect your child when they go to secondary school. Subject-based spending in secondary school was introduced since 2018 in the NA and NT courses. So SBB secondary provides students with greater flexibility to take various subjects at a more demanding level based on their subject-specific strengths and aptitudes. Under the new PSLE scoring system, students from the normal course will continue to be eligible to take subjects at a more demanding level at Sec 1 based on their AL scores for individual subjects to recognize and develop students' specific strengths. And so in other words, the students who could be in the NA or NT course, they can actually offer certain subjects at a higher level. For example, an NA student can offer express level course for certain subjects they are strong in. So under the new AL system, the SBB secondary school eligible criteria is as shown. So if a child does AL 5 or better in a standard subject, the child is able to take that subject at the express level, even though the child is in the normal academic or normal technical streams. Similarly, for AL 6 or better in a standard level subject or ALA in a foundation subject, it shows that the child is ready for secondary school subject level at an NA level, at a normal academic level. So the system now is actually a lot flexible, and it really focuses on the strengths of your child. If your child is able to do a particular subject at a higher level, then they are encouraged to do so. For those that they can't, then they will take it at the level that they are more ready for. Okay, so this allows more flexibility even for students who are late bloomers. There's the opportunity for them to take a subject at a higher level. This is my final slide and a quick example. Okay, looking at the student who has a English, Mother Tongue, Maths and Science, or AL 2 6s, 1A and 1 5, with a total score of 23. So a student scores 23 AL 5 for Science was placed in an NA course. Remember, from 23 onwards, the child is eligible only for the NA course. So he will go to the NA. However, because his AL for Science is high at an AL 5, he can offer a science subject at the express level in secondary 1. So taking up science at a more demanding level will allow him to learn at a level that's more suited for his pace of learning, because he has a better aptitude and interest in science. So therefore, it could motivate him to be more fully engaged. So eligible students can discuss this with their parents and their teachers to decide whether to accept the offer. So when they enter the secondary school, so this is a conversation that will take place at the secondary schools. When they meet the criteria, the school will offer this to you, the parents and the students. Then together with the teachers, you can discuss on what's best for your child. I've come to the end on the briefing on PSLE and Sec 1 posting. Thank you very much for your attention. I would now like to share with you a little bit about DSA direct school admission. For parents whose children are in P4 and P5, you might want to also find out a little bit more about DSA. It's about talents and strength of your students, and it does take time for us to discover our students' strengths and talents together with them over a few years. So for now, for students who are entering secondary schools, there are two ways that they can use. The first way is through DSA, which is based on a diverse range of talents and achievements in specific academic subjects or non-academic areas beyond the PSLE. And it also allows students to access school programs that can develop their talents. So DSA is one way, and the other way is the one that we are all very familiar with, PSLE scores as well as Sec 1 posting. Okay, direct school admission, DSA is not something new. I think it's been around since 2017, and in 2019 a change was made in the way that DSA is applied, and that will affect the 2021 P6 cohort this year. I think in the past, different schools have different systems that the parents have go through to submit the application for DSA. So since 2019, everything has become a one-stop portal for DSA applications, therefore making it a lot more convenient for the parents and the students to apply for DSA. We have heard about stories of parents preparing their children for DSA, going for tuition to put up an art portfolio, for example, so that they can present it during the DSA. We would like to discourage you from doing that. At the end of the day, your child do have to go through an interview. So even if the portfolio is put together very nicely, okay, the child does have to show certain talents or certain interests, and that can come out during the interview. So the main purpose of DSA is not to be seen as a shortcut to not having to do so well for PSA, or DSA shouldn't be seen as a way to get into the school that your child otherwise may or may not be able to get to if they just rely purely on the PSLE scores. So DSA, is it right for your child? It is really all about your child. Are there specific talents that the school offers that your child has? Is your child really passionate and committed to developing these strengths and interests? For a child, we have heard of stories where children do get into certain particular schools because of certain DSA, but after a year they wanted to drop, and it would be very difficult. I think there's a certain commitment here when we do DSA for our children and they get in because of particular talent and the school accepted us. There is a commitment to continue to be honed in that talent, in that passion, in that interest for the next 4 years in secondary school. So it really depends on what your child is interested in. It shouldn't be seen as a shortcut to get into a secondary school. That said, if you and your child decide that there are certain strengths and interests that your child has, how do you go about applying for DSA? Of course, number one is to look for a school with the programs that match your child's strengths and interests. Schools are looking out for students whose interests and talents can be developed further, so you can learn more about the secondary schools through their website. Before the DSA application portal opens, a lot of the secondary schools will be posting all their information in their various websites. So if you are interested, do go take a look at the website. There's also a MOE website that talks about DSA, so that's another place that you can go to if you would like to have more information. For Lakeside, we are also helping to compile some of the schools that are near us whose DSA areas correspond with our CCAs, with some of the talents and interests that our students have shown. We hope that when we share that with you, that will also help you to look at what are some of the school's programs that can match your child. So the latest interests I've already mentioned, look at the school website, attend the school open houses, as well as visit MOE's DSA website. Now, let me share with you a little bit about the new DSA secondary application portal. Okay, it's not new anymore since 2019. Okay, so to encourage students to tap on and expanded DSA opportunities, the DSA secondary application process has been simplified. So from 2019 onwards, students will only apply for DSA through a centralized DSA application portal. So regardless of what school you are going to, you will apply through this same portal. It has been streamlined when it comes to submission of documents and all that. It has been made much easier for parents. The actual dates for the DSA for 2021 has not been released yet. When that happens, we will definitely share it with you. So for now, this is the estimated timeline that DSA process has followed over the past few years. So from early May, for about 4 weeks, the students will be able to apply for DSA through the DSA portal. By about mid-June to end August, students who are shortlisted will be informed by the secondary school, and these students will have to go for trials, interviews, or auditions, depending on what area of talent they apply for. Last year was COVID year, so it was a bit interesting. They were not able to do any of these face-to-face tryouts and trials. Everything will be done online. For this year, we actually do not know in what form these trials and auditions and interviews will take place. So when we have more information, we will share that with you. So these selection process will take place between mid-June to end August, and then the outcome will be informed to you by end of August. So in late October, you will be receiving the offers by the schools. So the children can get one offer from a school or many offers. Then at this point, it's up to you whether you want to accept that offer. And if you have more than one offer from multiple schools, then you need to rank the choices accordingly to which one you would like to take up first. There's also a possibility that your child could be put on a wait list. If they're on a wait list, then you wouldn't know the outcome of whether they have got into the school until Psle release date, which is at the end of November. So late November, before I go late November, if at that point, when you're offered or you're on a wait list, if you decide that you want to withdraw from the DSA exercise and your child will take the normal Psle and Set 1 posting route, you will have to withdraw at this point at late November. Once you accept the offer, you will not be able to reject it later when the offer is confirmed, when the Psle results are released. So there is a certain commitment that's required from you and your child to the school that has offered them the DSA. Then in late November, you will know whether you have been allocated to a school, which school you have been allocated to if you have received more than one offer through the DSA secondary school. At the same time, you receive your Psle results. So those on the waiting list, you will also be informed at that time. And again, I think DSA is all about talent and the ability to continue to hone the talent. So the schools have updated their selection practices, which are based on a common set of student-centric principles with more emphasis on looking for sound fundamentals and potential in particular talent areas. All these will be updated in the website. You will be able to see them sometime in April. So the DSA secondary selection remains objective and talent-specific. The selection process may differ across schools and across different DSA categories. So generally, schools are looking for 3 things. Okay, number 1, students who have the talent, the passion, and the commitment. So they'll probably look at the achievement records, look at what are some of the different competitions that the child has participated in. The schools will conduct trials, tests, or auditions to really see if the child has that strength or that fundamental. In some cases, the child may not be particularly strong at this moment, but however, if the child shows a strong interest and has shown the potential, they may still be selected for DSA. Number two, personal qualities are very important. So they'll definitely look at the CCA records, the VIA participation. VIA is values in action, whether what kind of community work that the child has been involved in. And most schools do conduct interviews with your child to find out more about what your child thinks, how your child feels, and what your child has done. The kind of experiences the child has you have exposed or the school has exposed your child to. And finally, even though they do not look at the results, there has to be a good academic fit, okay, because they also do not want to admit a student in the school through DSA who would be stressed and would struggle with the academic demands of their school. So that's very important as well. So the important thing is to know yourself, know your strengths, be sincere, be genuine. Find a school that is a good fit for your child rather than just looking at the brand of the school when you are deciding on a DSA. Here are three possible DSA outcomes. Number one, your child will get a confirmed offer. So your child will have a reserved place in the school. So as long as the PSLE results qualify him for the course that the schools offer, the place will belong to your child. Second, your child could be placed on a wait list. You'll be given a place if other students with confirmed orders do not take up the offer. Okay, in this case, it will also be based on the student's rank on the school's wait list. This one we wouldn't know. The secondary school you only know the outcome of the wait list on the PSLE release date. And finally, your child may be unsuccessful in the DSA attempt, so in which case you will not be given a place. Your child will continue to go through the process of PSLE and Set 1 posting just like most of his peers would. A quick example again, Hani is given confirmed offer by Courage Secondary. Hani selected Courage Secondary as her second choice. Victor is offered a wait list by Courage Secondary School. Victor selected Courage Secondary as his first choice. Okay, in DSA, choice does not matter. So who will be considered first in Courage DSA? Because Hani is given a confirmed offer. As long as she accepts that offer, she will get it first. So in the event that there's one place left, Hani rejects the offer, and if Victor is top of the waiting list, Victor could be given the offer during PSLE release day. Okay, a very important question that I mentioned earlier. If my child has a DSA confirmed offer, does it mean that his PSLE results will not matter? Okay, the actual score of your child will not matter. However, the results must still be in the band of the course that he's eligible for. So even if it's a confirmed offer, he must qualify for the course offered by the school to be admitted to DSA school. So for example, earlier in the PSLE, I shared with you that in order to get into the express stream, the child has to score between a maximum of 22 to get into the express stream. So if the DSA schools offers express stream, even if your child scores a 22, which meets the express stream cutoff, your child will be able to go to the DSA schools as offered. However, if your child scores 25, let's say, which is beyond the express stream aggregate score, then your child will not be able to take up this offer. However, there are many schools that offer express, NA, and NT, so the chances of your child getting into the school, if you have made a right fit, is still quite high. Okay, as long as they get within the band where the course is offered in the secondary school, the specific PSLE result does not matter. Example, Leo has a confirmed offer from Courage Secondary, which offers the express course only. However, Leo's PSLE results qualify him for normal ACAD course. So hence, Leo will not be able to go to Courage Secondary School. And if he's not allocated a place, then he will participate in the Set 1 posting at the end of the year. For more information on DSA, do check out the MOE DSA Secondary website. when the more important dates and timeline will be put up. Once the school receives the information, we will also share it with the students and with the parents. So do look out for a notification from the school through the Parent Gateway. If you have not signed up for Parent Gateway yet, please do so, because a lot of important information now goes through the Parent Gateway. Okay. The updated secondary school information will be published around April. The website containing all the categories will also be put up then. This ends my sharing on direct school admission, DSA. Thank you very much for your attention.
Good afternoon, parents. Welcome to Parents Connection Session 2021. I'll be taking you through details of the spending or SBB today. Let me start with the intent of SBB first, which remains the same even with the Psle 2021. Basically, we want our students to stretch their potential for the stronger subjects and focus on building fundamentals for the subjects they're not strong in. Next, I would like to share the factors that we consider when we recommend a subject combination to the child. Firstly, the child's aptitude, motivation, and performance in the subject. Secondly, the child must be able to cope with the subject combination. Thirdly, we want to ensure that the child will be ready for progression to secondary school with the combination offered. So from what I've shared, you will realize that the foundation subject is not a disadvantage, as long as the subject combination is in the best interest of the child. This slide gives an overview of SBB at the primary school level. Let me start at what happens at primary 4. At primary 4, students take school-based examinations. The school will recommend a subject combination that we feel the child will benefit from. At P4, parents will be given the option of selecting the school-recommended combination or any other combinations that the school offers. The teachers may also engage the parents should they need more information to make an informed decision. At P5, the child will take the combination the parents have chosen. At the end of P5, the subject combinations will be reviewed. Some students may need to change the subject combination, that is, they may move from taking standard subjects to foundation subjects or a combination of standard and foundation subjects if they're not coping so well after 1 year, which is at the end of P5. At P6, the child will take the school-recommended subject combination and sit for the Psle. Parents will not be given any option form at the end of P5. This table shows the various subject combinations and the criteria used. So let me just give you an example. If a child passes 3 or 4 subjects, he can take all the subjects at the standard level. And if a child passes only 2 subjects, there's several subject combinations that we can offer depending on the performance of the child in that particular subject. Let me now explain one of the subject combinations for standard subject with an additional subject which is higher mother tongue or 4S1H combination. This is offered to a child who has performed very well for all 4 subjects and especially mother tongue, and he will be offered this 4S1H subject. To continue taking 4S1H at P6, at the end of P5, the students must meet the following criteria. They should get at least 70 marks in standard mother tongue and 50 marks in higher mother tongue. Let me explain the rationale for this criteria. Basically, the child has to be able to cope with the 4 subjects before being able to take a 5th subject, which is higher mother tongue. Students taking higher mother tongue will be staying back at least once a week for the higher mother tongue lessons and need to put in additional time and effort for this subject. So we want to ensure the child will be able to cope with all 5 subjects. This particular slide shows us the various scenarios and possible outcomes. So for example, let me just explain one. Pupils who do not meet the expectations for a particular subject, they will be asked to switch some of these subjects to the foundation level at P6, and that will be the subject they sit for at Psle. So there are students who will be able to take, for example, 2 standard subjects, standard English and standard mother tongue, while taking foundation mathematics and foundation science, for example. As we have communicated, the new AL or achievement level will take effect from this year's PSLE. This table shows the placement outcome and PSLE score. So to give you an example, a foundation subject grade A is equal to standard subject AL 6. So this example shows a child taking foundation subjects with standard subjects, and this child will be eligible for example, one of the streams, express streams, if the child meets the criteria for the PSLE score. Let me share a little bit more about taking higher mother tongue at secondary schools. Students will be able to take higher mother tongue at secondary schools if they obtain the following PSLE score that you see on this screen. So a PSLE score of 8 or better, or PSLE score of 9 to 14 inclusive of the following: AL1 or 2 in mother tongue, or distinction or merit in higher mother tongue. So a child who does not take higher mother tongue at primary school will not be at a disadvantage. The child will therefore be able to take higher mother tongue in secondary schools if he meets these criteria. Next, I will share about the HCL or Higher Chinese Language Admission to Special Assistance Program or SAP schools. Let me now share with you how HCL grades can be used for admission into SAP schools. Before 2021, for admission to SAP schools, students are awarded bonus T-score points based on their higher Chinese grades. Moving forward, from 2021, students with better PSLE scores will be posted first, even if they did not take higher Chinese language. Among students with the same PSLE score, those with better higher Chinese grades will be posted first. This posting advantage applies before the tiebreaker for Set 1 posting takes place. This slide shows the example I was talking about earlier, which is how the HCL grades are used for admission to SAP schools. So as you can see, the first child posted to this SAP school is one with a PSLE score of 7, but without higher Chinese language grades. Subsequently, the next few students have the same PSLE score. So the second child posted is one with HCL distinction, and the fifth one in that group with the same PSLE score is one without HCL. Then, after this group would be the sixth child. The PSLE score is 9, but with a distinction in higher Chinese language. So this captures what I've been talking about earlier. Thank you for joining us for this session. If you have any further questions, do check with the subject teachers, or you can post the questions later during the Parents Connection session. Thank you.
Welcome back, parents. For those who have just joined us, welcome to our Parent Connection Session 2021. We've just completed the briefing session and the address by myself. I hope that the session was useful for you. And if you still have questions, just scan the QR code at the bottom right-hand corner if you still have questions for us. Some of you have sent in questions. We will try our best to answer the questions. And if we are not able to within the time, we will get back to you through email or through your subject teachers, and the question and answers will be put up for you. Okay, let me introduce the panelists that we have with us today. My heads and my vice principals. So on the right at the top, my first person would be Mrs. Walker, my HOD for English.
Hi, everyone.
Madam Goh, HOD for Math.
Hello, everybody.
Madam Teo, HOD for Curriculum.
Hi, everyone.
Mrs. Seat, our year head for Upper Primary.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
And then I have Miss Tan, our vice principal, who has just joined us, if you have not met her.
Happy New Year.
Miss Uma, our vice principal.
Hello, everyone.
Mrs. Au, our assistant year head for primary 4,
Hi, everybody.
and Mrs. Kumar, subject head for Tamil,
Hi, everyone.
Madam Lin Lan, my senior teacher for Chinese language,
Hi, everyone.
and Mrs. Vijay, my level head for English language.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so we are ready to answer some of your questions. Some of you have submitted the questions earlier on when we've sent out the QR code via Parents Gateway. So the very first question we'd like to address is on common last topics. So Madam Go, for my HOD for math, would you like to take this question? Are there any common last topics to be removed in this coming PSLE for math and science like last year? Madam Go, please.
Thank you for the question. Right, so we will now, at this point in time, we'll teach according to the syllabus, which means we will also be teaching the common last topic that was identified for last year. So if there should be any common last topic that's going to be removed, the ministry will inform the school and the school will update the parents as soon as. Yeah, so don't worry, parents. We will inform you if there are any common last topics going to be involved this year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Go. Next question is on difficulty level. All right. So the question goes like this: does the level of difficulty increase year on year? I guess this person is asking about the PSLE. Can I invite Ms. Tan, my vice principal, to answer this question, please?
The SEAB is very mindful that the PSLE is a fair assessment for all the P6 students. The students will only be assessed based on what they have been taught. I think year on year, we have observed a fairly good spread of much easier and more challenging questions. PSLE papers are now very transparent. Since I think 6-7 years ago, all the PSLE papers have been published, so the public can actually buy the papers from popular bookshop or many of the bookshops. They do sell the papers. So we have also been able to look at the questions, and you will be able to find that there's quite a good spread that can cater to the different readiness of the students. So it doesn't become more and more difficult or more and more easy. I think during my time, the parents always like to say, if 1 year is easy, then the next year must be very difficult, right? That's what we all always think. But if you really look at the paper, it's really quite fairly distributed. So I think the most important when we work with our students is to actually work hard and put in their best effort to take the exams, rather than let the paper be difficult or easy affect them. Yeah, so it's our own diligence and effort that's the most important. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tan. So it is about the whole process of us as parents supporting and encouraging our children and giving them that confidence that the paper is something that they are prepared for, that there'll be a range of questions that will cater to their abilities. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Okay, this question says, MOE mentioned that they will release entry marks to secondary schools based on the new AL level. Do you know when this will be available? The briefing we have shared, we'll share it again, that it is within the first half of the year. So by mid-year, we will be sharing with you the cutoff points for the secondary schools. So listen out, look out for your Parents Gateway messages from us. You will hear from us, okay? Okay, next question is a question that comes in Chinese. I will read it, and then we'll have, because we've covered this actually in the briefing by Ms. Tan. So Ms. Tan will answer that in English. Okay, and then I will have Madam Lin Lan respond in Chinese. Okay, so it says like this: 选择高级课程对于 PSLE 有什么影响？选择与否有什么不同？ Okay, can I invite Ms. Tan? Could you translate the question and then could you answer the question, please? Thank you.
Okay, I think the question is about whether taking higher mother tongue will provide some kind of advantage at the PSLE when the child is choosing or involved in the Sec 1 posting. In the old system, okay, if a child takes a higher mother tongue, they could get a distinction, merit, or a pass. When it's the old aggregate score, the higher Chinese, higher Malay, or higher Tamil will actually add points to their aggregate. So if they score a distinction, for example, they will get 3 more bonus points for the aggregate score, 2 for merit and 1 for pass. So in the old system, it would directly impact the overall PSLE aggregate score. But in the new system, the PSLE score is still the most important, which is the total of the 4 subjects: English, Maths, Standard Mother Tongue, as well as Science. The higher mother tongue is used when the child wants to apply to a SEP school. And if we have so in example, me and another child, if we have the same PSLE score, so even if I do not take higher mother tongue, if my PSLE score is higher than another child, I will still get into the SEP school first. So higher mother tongue doesn't give you the advantage. It only comes into play when both students have the same PSLE score. So if I have an 8, another child also has a score of 8, if I do higher mother tongue, then I will get advantage in getting into the SEP school. So if we both take higher mother tongue, then they will look at whether I get a distinction, a merit, or a pass. So it is not a direct benefit unless there's a similar score. Yeah, I think something like that.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tan. Lin Lan.
OK 谢谢家长提出的问题。那我大概介绍一下刚才副校长 Miss 丹介绍的，就是在旧的计分系统里面，那么 PSLE 如果您的孩子有学习高华高级母语的话，它是有分优的成绩 distinction 是3分， merit 成绩是2分，然后 pass 的成绩是1分，那么它是可以直接加到这个 PSLE 的总分。如果您的孩子要报考这种这个比较好的学校来，像总分达到250分以上的学校，那么在新的计分系统里面这个学习高级母语的成绩呢，特别是高华就不算在总分，那它在 PSLE 上分系统里面只是考虑4科的成绩，只有当您的孩子要报考那个华文特选学校 SEP School 的时候，他才会做考虑。但是第一种情形是，如果您的孩子2个孩子同样是考 PSLE， 一个孩子没有选择学习高华，但是他的总分有比如说是7分，而您的孩子有学习高华，但是总分只有8分，那一位没有学习高华的这个同学，他还是可以优先被这种特选学校这个接收。所以这是第一种情形。第二种情形就是说，如果2位同时都有学习这个高华的同学，那成绩是一个有学高华，一个是没有学，如果他们2个的总分 PSLE 总分是一样，都是8分，那么如果您的孩子有学高华，那这个时候就可以优先考虑。而如果2个都有学习高华，那么他还要看高华的成绩是 distinction 还是 merit 还是 pass 的，那这个也是这个高华的这个成绩对 PSLE 的影响。总的来说就是说如果是 PSLE 的算分，可以这样说，高华成绩其实是不是直接影响他的总分计算的。希望家长能够就是听明白刚才我的解释，希望我的解释对您有帮助，谢谢。
Thank you， 谢谢林兰老师。 I think it's very clear in English and in Chinese, and that's because the question came in Chinese. That's why we're asking for it to be answered in Chinese as well. Our next question is there a recording for the live stream? Yes, this whole session is being recorded, and you can continue to assess this session, the questions that are being asked and the answers given. It will still be there through the same link, or if you go to YouTube and then you type in Lakeside Primary YouTube Live, you will find it as well. Okay, so you can go and take a look at any time that is convenient to you as well. The next question, is there any DSA secondary for rope skipping or pottery? Okay. Can I invite my year head for primary 5 and 6 to Mrs. Seat to take this question, please, Mrs. Seat.
Thank you for the question. Okay, basically for DSA, it recognizes the unique abilities of each and every student. So, but unfortunately, the DSA specific category of pottery and rope skipping, there are none at the moment. But maybe you would like to consider, okay, a wider category, like for example, in the area of arts. So you might want to look up for DSA offered by School of the Arts, SOTA. And we will also be giving you more information in time to come. But in the meanwhile, you could actually search through the MOE intranet based on last year's 2020 DSA categories. So there's a filter whereby you can search the CCA for it. Okay, we hope we answered your question. And if there are any more questions pertaining to DSA, we will furnish you with more information about it. So in the meanwhile, do continue to look out for possible categories that are associated with either in the area of arts or sports. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Seat. So it's important for you to engage your child or discuss with your child what's his or her interest, and to explore the culture of the school and what the school offers, and to make the selection of the school for secondary school as well. Yeah, so it's not just about the CCAs, it's all the other factors that will come together that will affect your decision as well. Okay, the next question that has just come in. Okay, if my child fails one or more subjects like AL7 or below, will he or she still be able to go to the express stream in secondary school if his or her total is 20 points? Okay, would anyone like to take that question? Will any of my VPs be able to take that question?
I think I can take that.
Okay, Ms. Tan, please.
When we share the slides, we'll be sharing the slides on the PSLE review. You might want to pay attention to one of the tables that show you the different secondary school types as well as the range of the PSLE scores. So for 4 to 20, a child will still be eligible to go to the express stream in secondary school. I think if I remember correctly, 21 and 22, the child can offer express or normal
NA.
academic. So
Yep.
and the scores will go on to NT, NA, and NT, and so on. So you can pay attention a bit to that table. Then the other part that you can look at also that can affect your choice would be the full subject-based spending in secondary schools. For students who are particularly strong in certain subjects, even though they are in the normal academic course, let's say my science is particularly strong, the secondary school may still offer me to take science at the express level. So it really depends on the AL. So if I have an AL5 for science, I could actually still be offered express stream for science in secondary school. So this is something that is also very new. So when you look at the set of slides, you might want to pay a little bit of attention to that. If you are not sure, please feel free to ask the teachers. We will definitely get back to you and help you to understand this new full subject-based spending at secondary schools. Yeah, so the pathways now are, the choices now are a lot better. I think for the kids, I think that's something that's in the good direction. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tan. I'd like to also emphasize that even for the NT, the normal tech, there is a basic requirement that your child scores for English and math at least an AL7. Yeah, at least an AL7 for English and math. Okay. Okay, another question that has come in. Okay, can my child get into DSA through being an EXCO member in the prefectorial board? Okay, so that's on DSA. Perhaps Miss Uma, would you like to take this question?
Good afternoon. Yes, I think DSA is very popular. I think parents are starting to think about DSA. Really, at the end of the day, we need to understand whether CCA or leadership, like being EXO member, is we need to understand the intent is really to develop the students, the values, the life skills that they will get being a member of the EXCO, prefectorial EXCO board. However, having said that, there are schools that offer on leadership and there are schools that offer on different areas. So you really need to go in and look at the different schools that are offering DSA. We'll be briefing the students about DSA soon, the P6 students. And for yourself, if you're interested in certain schools, you can go into the website to check what are the areas that they offer DSA for. All right, so for this, yes, there will be schools that offer student leadership, but you'll need to go in and check. You can also ask your child to speak to the form teachers or subject teachers. They'll be able to help them too. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Ms. Uma. So we have shared with our P5s, if I'm not wrong, on the schools nearby that offer all the different DSA areas. So talk to your child. Your child will be able to share with you. If your child still has questions, to approach their form teacher or their co-form teacher, and will be able to guide your child along as well. Okay? Okay. This question, we keep in mind that we have other students with us. Yeah, okay. Any remedial classes on the month of June? If we're talking about P6s, we would have remedial or supplementary classes. Okay. Uma, would you like to take that question?
Yes, usually for P6s, we do have it, and P5s as well. But other levels, no, I think they will have to rest. We will usually give out, if you recall, a parent's letter with an annex that shows a calendar of events for the whole of term 2, which will coming up soon. Sometime in week 10, we'll be giving out this, and you can see the different activities on this calendar itself. So to answer that question again, P5 and 6, yes, for first week. And then the last week is usually only the P6s. But we'll give you more details in the annex that will be coming your way in week 10. Thank you.
Okay, so it's the first week and the last week of the holidays. In between, you should be quite safe if there's something that you want to plan for your child. But it's unlikely that we'll be able to travel considering the situation for COVID-19, yeah? Okay, let's go on to the next question. Okay, this question for, Madam Teo, our HOD curriculum, can you take this question? How can parents help children to learn better with challenging topics in science? Yeah, Madam Teo, please.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Actually, it's a good question to ask because I think it's a common concern among many parents with regards to challenging topics. Usually the challenging topics to the child will be topics which are more abstract, that covers actually more abstract concepts like heat or energy. So one way that you can actually help your child from at home will actually to be engaging them in conversations. It could be a newspaper article, or it could be a phenomenon that you observe in their daily lives. So you actually talk to the children about it and maybe get them to explain to you using scientific terms that they've actually learned in school to explain or to discuss about it. So of course, do encourage your child to read widely, read beyond the syllabus, read beyond the textbooks. So it could be of any particular topic of interest that they
they could have. So it could be about the environment or animals or plants. So just encourage your child to read widely so that they keep their minds curious and they continue with asking questions and trying to figure things out. And of course, last but not least, if they still have any doubts, do encourage them to approach their teachers in school. So seek clarification as and when, and I'm sure the science teachers will be able to help them. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Teo. So it's about keeping your children curious and keep them asking questions about their surroundings and what they observe around them. Okay, science is all around us, not just in the textbook or in the workbook, yeah? Okay, our next question. Mrs. Walker, you'd like to take this question. Were there any English units not covered during full HBL last year? And what plans do we have to catch up on these units? Mrs. Walker?
Thank you, Mrs. Goh. So we planned our full HBL curriculum last year such that teaching and learning still continued even during circuit breaker. So we designed the overall plan such that more challenging concepts like active and passive voice were taught after the circuit breaker period ended and when teachers could engage the students face to face. So all required concepts were covered last year. So there really is nothing we need to catch up on this year per se. However, we do understand that some children may not have fully grasped the concepts from last year's FBL period. So our teachers are aware of this and they will spend some time to review the foundational concepts that have been done previously before moving on to the concepts that need to be covered this year. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Okay, one for higher mother tongue. Can Mrs. Kumar take this question? Okay, would taking higher mother tongue help the child in the performance of standard mother tongue?
Okay,
Mrs.
thank you
Kumar?
for the question, Mrs. Goh. Actually, Ms. Tan and Madam Lin have addressed some of these points in their responses. I will once again maybe reiterate the important points. Okay, firstly, the syllabus for higher mother tongue and standard mother tongue are different. Therefore, the assessments for both these curriculums focus on different learning outcomes for the students. Therefore, taking higher mother tongue may not necessarily directly help students in the performance of standard mother tongue. However, saying this, it is important. If your child is skillful enough to apply the language skills learned maybe in higher mother tongue or even in an English lesson, for example, comprehension skills like annotation, chunking, or summarizing skills, and is able to apply it in standard mother tongue, then this type of application of skills or strategies will help in any language learning. So need not just take higher mother tongue to improve the learning in standard mother tongue. So we encourage students to take higher mother tongue if they are doing already very well for standard mother tongue and also for the EMS subjects. So students who do not meet the demands of the higher mother tongue and other subjects at P5 level may be advised to drop it at end of P5 level, okay, after the SA2 exams. And it is also important to note that the achievement levels, the AL for higher mother tongue, will not be included in the aggregation of the PSLE total score. The higher mother tongue results will only be reflected as distinction, merit, or pass. So only students taking higher Chinese, HCL, will have a posting advantage as described by Ms. Tan and Madam Lin for a posting advantage for admission to SEP schools. Thank you.
Okay, I know that we have mentioned that the session will end at 5:15 because of the questions that are coming in. We would run this session till about 5:30 before we call it a day to try to answer as many questions as we can. And if we are unable to, we will get back to you via email, or we will give you a call through your subject teachers. Okay, let's respond to one of the questions that's just come in. Will the cutoff point for schools offering IB programs be made known? Okay. So far, the cutoff points, right, Ms. Tan, correct me if I'm wrong, for the various courses has been shared through the briefing today. So we'll repeat it again, not for IB, but for government and government aided schools. For Express IP integrated program will be is 7 to 9. Okay, that's the indicative range. And then for autonomous schools, IP again, Express is 7 to 9. But for independent schools, for IP is 6 to 8. So I would say IB is about there. It's all these are indicative, okay? Because this is the first year that the children will be taking and using the ALs, okay? So I hope that is useful. Okay, next question. Maybe we can take one or two more questions. Can Mrs. Au take this question? Mrs. Au? Okay, with the current situation, how will the school carry out the P4, P5 camp? Mrs. Au, please.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Both the P4 and P5 camp will be carried out in the form of day camp. There will not be sleepover. So for our P4 camp, it will be conducted over 2 days within the school. Due to the current situations, we may explore the virtual learning experience to meet the learning objectives that cannot be carried out due to the safe management measures for COVID-19. So as for our P5 students, they will go for a 3 days day camp from 26th to 28th of July. As I mentioned earlier, the students will not be staying overnight. Parents do rest assured that both our camps will be carefully planned with safe management measures in place. More information will be provided on a later date. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Au. Okay, the next question is on English. Can Mrs. Vijay take this question? How can I help my child improve in composition? Okay, Mrs. Vijay, please.
Thank you for the question. In improving composition, we need to consider two aspects. One would be content development and the other, language accuracy. For content development, our students are familiar with the story mountain strategy, where they get to pen down their ideas on how they would like to plan or sequence the story. So in every story, there should be a problem and an attempt to resolve the problem. Without this, the story becomes flat and unexciting. The next aspect would be language accuracy. We are looking at whether the writing is grammatically accurate and if the words used are appropriate. So we can help the students to be familiar with the meaning and spelling of words and phrases that they are likely to use in the writing. Do encourage your children to use the sentence structures that they're familiar with or confident of. So when they gain more confidence, then they'll be able to write more complex sentences. Having said that, I would definitely encourage all the students to read widely, allow them to read books from different authors, and we need to be mindful that writing is a process. We would also want them to find their own voices and style, so we shouldn't be making them memorize model compositions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Vijay. Okay, one last question. Is there any possibility to choose a normal acad at the school that the kid desires if at the PSLE certificates is stated express? Okay. All right. Mr. Tan, would you be able to, I think you covered that in your slides.
I think the short answer is no.
Yep.
The students will have to offer the PSLE score is indicative of how ready the child is for the next stage of education in secondary school. So if the child scores within the band for express, then it shows clearly that the child has the ability to cope with the express stream. But that said, I do know of parents who can speak to the secondary school. I think it is a conversation and a dialogue that you want to have with the secondary schools. However, as I said earlier, if your child is able to score within the band for express, it does show that the child is ready for the express stream. So I think you do not be overly worried. because some parents think that, oh, if I put my child in the express, my child will be very stressed. So I think the more important thing is then how do we support our child so that they can experience success even though they are taking express, which is what they are ready for.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Tan. I'm not sure whether for this question, for the parent who asked this question, if there are certain needs that your child has that needs to be tended to, like what Ms. Tan mentioned, do speak and engage the secondary school and they will be able to guide you. I also like to highlight that there is a certain band of AL 21 to 22 where you have a choice of express stroke NA. Then you would be able to choose, okay, either express or NA, whichever you think is a better fit for your child, so that he or she will be able to cope with the academic load as well as enjoy school life, right? So that is the band that allows that choice. Anything above 4 to 20 is express, and that's where your child is considered to be ready for the express stream. Okay, I think we will stop here because it's already 5:30. We will collate the questions and the answers, and then we'll put it up so you have access to it. And the recording is also made available to you. Continue to get to it through the same link. I want to thank you for being so participative, for sending in your questions. I hope that we have been able to answer your questions. And remember, your form, co-form, and subject teachers are available. And if you do continue to have any questions at any point, write into them and they will be able to help you with whatever questions you have. Okay, with that, we want to thank you. We hope you have a good rest of the evening. Thank you. Goodbye.